So just a small recap.
We haven't done the pranam mantra yet. Can we?
We can do that. Okay. Can someone like to lead?
Yeah, Prabhuji.
Okay, please carry on.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunlimitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Caitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padhan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Tute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya cha Krupa Sindhobhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for this Mangalacharan. So text 293 ends with this very beautiful understanding of Radha Krishna's pastimes. There are 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas, and they have their 4 acharyas or the leaders. ISKCON comes in the Brahma Sampradaya, which begins with Lord Brahma. In the great Tirupati temple, which is the seat of Sripad Ramanujacharya. Well, Tirupati, Srirangam, Melukute, there are 2-3 places associated with Sripad Ramanujacharya's preaching. That is the Shri Sampradaya. Shri here means Lakshmi Devi. Udupi is another holy place which has the Udupi Krishna Udupi Mutt temple, founded by Sripad Madhvacharya. And Madhvacharya also comes in the Brahma Sampradaya. We have 2 more Sampradayas. We have the Rudra Sampradaya. Rudra means Lord Shiva. And that is seen in the Pushti Marg temple, or one of their main temples is in Rajasthan, India, called the Nathdwara temple, Srinathji temple. They do have a presence in Mumbai and in Gujarat province of India. And finally, we have the Kumar Sampradaya, which was founded by the 4 Kumaras, 4 great ascetics. They do a lot of austerity, tapasya, and Sripad Nimbarkacharya is one of the stalwart acharyas. So that is not seen as very active throughout India, but in Vrindavan they have their place. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chose to appear or take initiation in the Brahma Sampradaya. So that's how we have the 6 Goswamis and all the acharyas coming from their lineage right up to Srila Prabhupada. These four sampradayas have one common goal. One good comparison is these are like four Ivy League universities. They don't teach anything different. Mathematics 2 plus 2 is 4 in all the universities. But one particular university is famous for mathematics, one is for electronics, one is for arts, humanities. So that's a natural progression. So our sampradaya specializes in what is called rasa. Rasa means a particular taste, a particular humor, a particular mellow. And it is important that we understand both our teachings and how they are different from the teachings given by other sampradayas in a very respectful way, not to get swayed away by emotion, but to understand from the foundational principle point of view as to why a particular sampradaya emphasizes on a particular emotion. Because ultimately, spiritual life is to relish, to enjoy, to taste. Please remember, this is not a drudgery. This is not some homework. Oh my God, I have to chant now. Oh my God, I have to do this reading now. We are hankering after pleasure, and pleasure is available in the form of Krishna, unlimited pleasure. But that pleasure also has various facets, various features. So this small story which we read talked about the gopis seeing Krishna in his majestic form, but excuse me, but they were not impressed. They didn't like to see Krishna in a majestic form. They would rather see Krishna as a coward boy, and that's what Chaitanya Charitamrita especially is meant to give, as Prabhupada put it, to a careful reader. And that's the goal of our life, to become careful readers. Okay, so we go text 294. Sei Brajeshwara iha Jagannatha Pita, Sei Brajeshwari iha Sachideva Mata. In this text translation, Father Nanda, the king of Brajabhumi, is now Jagannath Mishra, the father of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mother Yashoda, the queen of Brajabhumi, is now Shachi Devi, Lord Chaitanya's mother. Text 295. Sei Nanda Sutta Iha Chaitanya Gosai, Sei Baladeva Iha Nityananda Bhai. Translation. The former son of Nanda Maharaj is now Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the former Baladev, Krishna's brother, is now Nityananda Prabhu, the brother of Lord Chaitanya. Text 296. Vatsalya Dasya Sakya Tina Bhavamai, Say Nityananda Krishna Chaitanya Sahai. Translation. Sri Nityananda Prabhu always feels the ecstatic emotions of paternity, servitude, and friendship. He always assists Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in that way. So, dear devotees, please understand, here paternity, servitude, and friendship, these can be called as unique contributions from the Vedic canon, from the Vedic texts. Islam means surrender. I am a servant, God is my master. Lord Jesus said, serve thy God with all thy heart, mind, and soul. I am small, you are great. Similarly, Judaism, Buddhism, take any bona fide religion, and the understanding is that God is great and I need to serve God. It is that elementary, that simple. The Vedas, especially the Bhakti texts, they take things to a different level. Paternity means, in ordinary parlance, oh Lord, give him a daily bread, which Prabhupada approved as a very good prayer. Oh yeah, one should not have this false conception that I can do things for myself. Interestingly, paternity is just the opposite. You want that God should come to you and say, please feed me. You may say, how unnatural. No, it's not unnatural. It is a feeling of love. And especially from the devotee's point of view, that why should I be begging God for mere food, which he gives to the birds and beasts without them asking, without them praying? Do you find a big church in the jungles of Africa where all the elephants and the giraffes are praying? An elephant needs 140 kilograms of food every day. Who's feeding him? So, whenever an intelligent person with a purified heart ponders, what am I praying for? New car, new clothes? What if I pray to God, teach me how to serve you? Let me know how I can make you happy. So, paternity is Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Mai, that if I don't serve Krishna, I will die. Servitude is like Hanuman. In the Ramayana story, the Lord needs a bridge to cross over to Lanka. But his servant Hanuman, he doesn't need a bridge, he just jumps over. So when Hanuman is asked that, how did you do that? Well, it is because of the potency of my master. So the servant can do more than the master. It looks like logic upturned, upside down. The devotee is telling Krishna, I would like to feed you. The servant showing he has more power than the master. And the third thing mentioned here is friendship. So you must have seen Krishna lifting the Govardhan hill. It's called Girivaradhari. While Krishna was lifting, it went on for 7 days and 7 nights, my dear. So while Krishna had lifted that hill, his friends were thinking, I mean, what's so great about that? 2 days ago, I defeated him in wrestling. If he can lift the hill, I can also. This is the mood where you don't feel that God is superior. And Krishna also relishes that. Krishna is playing in the streets of Brajabhumi, and his mother comes and says, Krishna, time for lunch, come back. He said, just coming, just now coming. Nothing happens. Half an hour, he's still playing. His mother comes out and says, Krishna, it's late. So he decides to move. As he turns and shows his back to his friends, they say, hey, 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 not now. Just because you are winning doesn't mean you should be leaving our game. Our game has just about reached its peak. So Krishna is saying, but my mom is calling. If you leave now, we won't take you for our playing tomorrow. Okay? So go at your own risk. Krishna dare not leave the game. That's the power of the friends. His mother comes out again, and now she's having a stern look. Her voice also is very angry. Krishna, are you like an ordinary boy? Look at how dirty you are. Come and take your bath. It's time for your noon lunch. Your father is waiting for you. Now Krishna has to beg permission from his friends. Please allow me, otherwise, I'll get a beating inside at my home. So even if you don't get a hold of these emotions right now, there is much more. But this is how Krishna Bhakti is arranged. That Krishna wants that my devotee should be controlling me. But one small condition. Your heart has to be absolutely pure. No material desires. Like this is a perennial confusion. Oh, if we don't have desires, that means we are free, right? No. The Buddhists and others, they may meditate upon no desires, no desires. But we Vaishnavas, we say, what's the problem with desires? We are living souls, and having a desire is the sign of a soul, the symptom of consciousness. So in the material atmosphere, all desires are painful. They simply give rise to more karma, birth, old age, disease, death. So Buddhist meditators, they want to enter a realm where none of their desires will give any pain. And it does, mind you. So the happiness they find is the absence of pain. Like somebody ate something, food poisoning, it happens in India so many times, and you have diarrhea and vomiting and headache. And after 4 days of enduring such violent pain, you take some allopathic medicine, and then afterwards, for the next 2 days, you don't have any pain, and you are saying, ah, bliss. I'm so happy. Why are you so happy, sir? Don't you understand? Last 2 days, I didn't get diarrhea bouts. I have not vomited. I don't have a headache. I could actually rest for 4 hours. Now you tell me from your and my normal point of view, is that happiness? That is just absence of misery. That's not positive happiness. So the Vaishnava conception is, I want to have desires. I want to eat, sleep, dance, cook, do so many things, but I should be getting pure happiness. So the Vaishnavacharyas say, keep Krishna in the center and then you'll have it. Take Krishna away and you have our material world, where the happiness is there for a small amount of time. Afterwards, it's only pain. Text 297. Prema bhakti diyate ho bhasala jagate tar charitra lokena pare buchite. Sri Nityananda Prabhu overflooded the entire world by distributing transcendental loving service. No one can understand his character and activities. Text 298. Advaita Acharya Gosai Bhaktavatar Krishna Avatariya Kale Bhaktira Prachar. Translation. Srila Advaita Acharya Prabhu appeared as an incarnation of a devotee. He is in the category of Krishna, but he descended to this earth to propagate devotional service. Text 299. Sakhya Dasya Tui Bhav Sahajatahar Kabhu Prabhu Karena Tare Guru Vyavahar. Translation. His natural emotions were always on the platform of fraternity and servitude. But the Lord sometimes treated him as his spiritual master. So we are talking of Advaita Acharya and his connection with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Advaita Acharya's natural emotions were always fraternity and servitude, treating Mahaprabhu as a friend and as his master. But the Lord sometimes treated him as his own spiritual master. Text 300. Shrivasadi Jatta Mahaprabhur Bhaktagan Nija Nija Bhave Kare Chaitanya Sevan. Translation. All the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, headed by Srivas Thakur, have their own emotional humors in which they render service unto him. Sometimes people say that is Vaishnavism kind of a homogeneous thing? Have I joined an army that I have to parade the same uniform? And does everyone get the same realization? Is the salary equal to everybody? No. There are few things which are common to everybody. There is no escape from that. And that is the things mentioned to purify your heart. The heart is always the target of bhakti. Whatever we do, we have to put your heart into it, we have to purify our heart. So heart, heart, heart all the time. But once you get free from material contamination, then there is an endless variety in which you can have your own particular way of doing service. Then there is no homogeneity, there is no structure, there is no compulsion. Because freedom is one of the main foundational principles of love. Two parties are needed for love. One the lover, one the beloved. Both of them are free to cancel the transaction. Both of them can walk away. Isn't it in our mundane business sense also? Two people come and they say, okay, what do you have to sell? Okay, I have this to sell. Okay, this is the price. No, that's too less. Okay, there's something more. Once they come to an understanding, okay, then the goods are exchanged, money also is exchanged. So bhakti should be treated like that kind of a transaction. Krishna can walk away anytime. Okay, I don't need your service. Mercifully, he doesn't do that because his compassion also is endless. Otherwise, just ponder for a moment, why should Krishna have some interest in me? I, Shyamananda, with my polluted mind, my chanting is not pure, my actions are not pure. So from one point of view, accepting service from me is like burden. But Krishna claims, no, you are mine. You were mine from eternal time. You have forgotten about it. I have come to remind you. Please understand, you are happily my part and parcel. Chant my name, purify yourself, and we both can enjoy for eternity. That is Krishna's way. So, very clearly here, Krishna's Karaj Goswami is saying that all devotees have their nija bhave, their own emotional humors in which this render service. So don't feel unhappy that have I to make something in a particular way only. Like in a temple, if like we have our kitchen and this is to happen, our kitchen in charge would always come and say, hey, Prabhus, the sabji has to be cut this big only, this big. So just because we are all 35 of us cutting veggies, we cannot cut in our own. Somebody can make a whole big cube, somebody can make a small thing. The sabji has to look proper. But another kitchen in charge comes in, he may say, today I'm going to make this vegetable preparation with some North Indian spicing. That's allowed. So I hope you understand the way in which how bhakti can be individualistic and how bhakti has to be like you follow the whole order or follow a particular line. Text 301. Pandit Gosai Adi Jar E Ras Say Rase Prabhu Hanatara Vash. Translation. Personal associates like Gadadhar, Swarup Damodar, Ramananda Rai, and the 6 Goswamis headed by Rupa Goswami are all situated in their respective transcendental humors. Thus, the Lord submits to various positions in various transcendental melodies. Report. In verses 296 to 301, the emotional devoted service of Sri Nityananda, Sri Advait Prabhu, and others has been fully described. Describing such individual service, the Gaur Ganodesha Deepika 11 to 16. And now this is a special book, Gaur Ganodesha Deepika, which tells a particular devotee in the Mahaprabhu's Leela what was his eternal form in Krishna Leela. So it's a very important book. So the Gaur Ganodesha Deepika declares that although Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared as a devotee, he is none other than the son of Nanda Maharaj. Similarly, although Sri Nityananda Prabhu appeared as Lord Chaitanya's assistant, he is none other than Baladev, the carrier of the cloud. Advaita Acharya is the incarnation of Sadashiva from the spiritual world. Here, Sadashiva is the original form of Lord Shiva. All the devotees headed by Srivas Thakur are his marginal energy, whereas the devotees headed by Gadadhar Pandit are manifestations of his internal potency. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Advaita Prabhu, and Nityananda Prabhu all belong to the Vishnu Tattva category. Because Lord Chaitanya is an ocean of mercy, he is addressed as Mahaprabhu, whereas Nityananda and Advaita, being two great personalities who assist Lord Chaitanya, are addressed as Prabhu. Thus, there are two Prabhus and one Mahaprabhu. Gadadhar Goswami is a representative of a perfect Brahmana spiritual master. Srivas Thakur represents a perfect Brahmana devotee. These five are known as the Pancha Tattva. Pancha means five, Tattva means truth. Text 302. Tihasham Banshi Mukha Gopa Vilasi Iha Gaura Kabudvija Kabuta Sannyasi. Translation. In Krishna Leela, the Lord's complexion is blackish. Holding a flute to his mouth, he enjoys as a coward boy. Now, the self-same person has appeared with a fair complexion, sometimes acting as a Brahmana and sometimes accepting the renounced order of life. Text 303. Ataiva apane prabhu gopi bhav dhari Brajendra nandane kohe prananath kori. Therefore, the Lord himself, accepting the emotional ecstasy of the gopis, now addresses the son of Nanda Maharaj. O master of my life, O my dear husband. Text 304. Say Krishna, say Gopi, Parama Virod, Achindya Charitra Prabhu, Rati Sudurbodh. Translation. He is Krishna, yet he has accepted the mood of the gopis. How is it so? It is the inconceivable character of the Lord, which is very difficult to understand. So sometimes we have the Shastra Acharyas telling us very clearly that, hey folks, this is not very easy to understand. What does it mean? It means give it some time. That's all. I use a simple example in my life. When I was taught mathematics, 2 plus 2 is 4, 4 plus 4 is 8, 8 plus 8 is 16. But in the 8th grade, I remember our teacher coming and saying, how many of you can prove that 8 minus 10 is minus 2? And I was saying, wow, I've never heard anything like that. He said, yes, we mathematicians, we are kind of so clever that we can prove it to you that 8 minus 10 is minus 2, and it's a very important part of mathematics. So I remember I had asked him after the class that, sir, if I have 8 mangoes and you take 10 mangoes out of that, and then you have minus 2 mangoes remaining with me? So he said, yes, see, you are using mathematics, which is elementary level. We are talking of a higher subtle level. But I said, sir, it cannot be proved. You cannot take 10 things from 8 things. He says, correct. If you have material things at a gross level, you cannot. but at a subtle level you can. And that's why this is called algebra. And that's why it is taught at this particular level. 5 and 6-year-olds cannot understand that how can you take 10 things from 8 and then you have -2 remaining. Similarly, when like here it is said that, oh, some things are very difficult to understand. So what do? Do we give up? We don't mentally give up, but we try to understand how does it make sense. Prabhupada told one devotee, you cannot understand things from Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita because you are not yet ready, you are not yet pure. But you please continue doing the same thing, chanting Hare Krishna, associating with devotees, reading it every day. And one day Krishna will bless you with that intelligence. So this is in short the formula which we should adopt whenever we see something like, oh, this is too difficult to understand. Here, text 304, the word is suturbodha, difficult to understand. I'll read the purport. Krishna's accepting the part of the gopis is certainly contradictory according to any mundane calculations. But the Lord, by his inconceivable character, may act like the gopis and feel separation from Krishna, although he is Krishna himself. Such a contradiction can be reconciled only in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he has energy that is inconceivable. The exact Sanskrit word is achintya, which can make possible that which is impossible to do. This is another again small term used not very frequently by Prabhupada. Aghata, ghatana, patiyasi. Aghata means that which cannot happen. Ghatana is which somebody makes happen. Patiyasi means somebody who is expert. Such contradictions are very difficult to understand unless a devotee strictly follows the Vaishnava philosophy under the direction of the Goswamis. This is how Prabhupada summarizes it. Therefore, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami ends every chapter with this verse. Shri Rupa Raghunath Pade Jarash Caitanya Charitamrita Kohe Krishna Das. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita following in their footsteps. In a song by Narottam Das Thakur, it is said, Rupa Raghunath Pade Hoibe Akuti Kabe Hama Bhujabo Se Yugala Piriti. The conjugal love between Radha and Krishna, which is called Yugala Piriti, is not understandable by mundane scholars, artists, or poets. It is simply to be understood by devotees who strictly follow in the footsteps of the 6 Goswamis. Sometimes so-called artists and poets try to understand the love affairs of Radha and Krishna. Excuse me. And they publish cheap books of poetry and pictures on the subject. Unfortunately, however, they do not understand the transcendental affairs of Radha and Krishna, even to the smallest degree. They are simply meddling in a matter in which they are not fit even to enter or to speak or understand that. Any questions? Anything unfinished from last session? I don't remember. If somebody has, you can make it up. Or you have any questions about today's topic?
I asked one question, Prabhuji, last week about our 4 regulative principles.
Yes, now I remember.
Yes, Prabhu. Why to follow and how it helps to our devotional service.
I have made a point. Do you remember that?
Yes, Prabhuji. Those are
What
the
was that?
fence.
So there are 4 negative things. No meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication. Prabhupada was asked that, why don't you relax these 4 no's? And Prabhupada said, even if nobody follows me, I won't relax them. I don't care about the number of disciples leaving me, but I cannot. One day in a humorous tone, Prabhupada said, I was wondering, what will Americans say when I tell them, no this, no this, no this, no this? And he only answered, I think they will tell me, please go away. Don't stay here. But Prabhupada said, we are not after cheap disciples. We are after sincere people. And therefore, we have to give them. So, if these are 4 no's, what is the positive factor behind these 4 negations? The positive factors are that we are not talking of bhakti life. We are not talking of Vaishnava lifestyle. We are talking of human lifestyle. Vaishnavism is miles away from that. So simple human behavior is advanced human behavior. You have to have 4 good qualities. Anyone knows which 4 they are?
Honesty.
Honesty means truth, correct?
Cleanliness.
Cleanliness, second.
Humble.
Mercy,
Mercy. Yeah. Compassionate.
Mercy, compassion, honesty, and truthfulness. And these 4, if they are called the 4 pillars of proper human religious life, these 4 regulatory principles, when they are broken, they break these pillars. So if a structure is standing on 4 pillars and you break all 4, the whole structure comes down. So I will give you a verse. I'll just find out in my Veda maze here. You can make a note of that. This is from the Bhagavatam. Just give me a second.
Is mercy and compassionate, I mean, in terms of human, is it not same, Prabhuji?
Yes, correct.
Mm.
They are used interchangeably. Just a moment, I'll just find out this. Hey, wait a moment, when is that verse? I'm not getting it immediately. Let me try once more. Oh my, how did I forget that verse? Striya Shona. Okay, yeah, just a moment. Okay. 117:38. Just make a note. First canto, 17th chapter, 38th verse. So there these four things are mentioned. So the first point is the positive factors are we need to cultivate mercy, cleanliness, austerity, and truthfulness. So mercy is connected with no meat eating, austerity is connected with no intoxication, cleanliness is connected with no illicit sex, and honesty is connected with no gambling, truth. And like our previous example, they are like a fence which protects your tender creeper of bhakti. If somebody doesn't have the desire to become a Krishna Bhakta, but he's following these four principles very strictly, that person simply is at the standard of piety. And anytime, because of his past karmic reaction, he may lose that piety. For example, if a devotee has to lose a limb or become sick or loses money or lose a relative or die himself, we can always say, Krishna, please save me. That one entreaty, one prayer will make Krishna take notice that, oh, he wanted me to save him and I'll do that. But you're on your own. If you're just following these principles and you are thinking yourself very pious, chances are you might lose it if some previous karmic reaction comes. So therefore, whenever devotees would talk in terms of Srila Prabhupada, how do I preach? Srila Prabhupada, how do I manage? Srila Prabhupada, how do I become a better devotee? His answer would be follow the four principles, chant minimum 16 rounds, protection is guaranteed. So this is a small summary. Radhika Radhi would like to add something here?
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you.
Prabhuji, I'm listening. Nice. I joined a little late. Sorry. Yesterday was a holiday for us. So today, for some reason, from morning, I'm having this problem of thinking Monday. And in the evening, I remembered, yes, we have the class.
Same
and
problem,
then
Mataji. I joined late.
I started making ghee in the kitchen. And then for some reason, my daughter, something she was doing with my phone, I happened to say, oh my God, how come I missed the class? Then I immediately joined. I'm sorry about that. So I joined when you were talking about Bhakti Prabhuji, how Krishna wanted simple. So when we read this, when we hear or read Bhagavatam, it looks so simple, but it is not that simple. The bhakti, you were giving the examples of Brajvasis, right? The friendship, like, parental affection and all that, this, how simple the heart, Krishna wants that affection. And I was thinking when you were explaining that, it sounds so simple, so simple. Why we are making it so complicated? That's the thing. Why is this so hard for us to observe that? Like, I was thinking, like, maybe it is all our material conditioning. Even okay, material conditioning, we're making it complicated. But even after knowing that, also, why we are not able to overcome that?
In one sense, there is hope. Whenever you feel, why am I not surrendered? That itself is a hope-giving thing. And Krishna takes notice of that. Oh, this person has come up to some level. This person chanted, but then is not happy with the quality. Oh, that's very good. One angle of seeing is the positive. The other angle is we also need to understand reality. Prabhupada's example of a fan which is moving at top speed and suddenly you remove the electrical connection, but that doesn't mean that fan has stopped immediately. A disease condition due to wrong eating habits or whatever, and now you take a medicine, but that doesn't mean the next hour you will feel better. So In English, there is a saying, this is not the beginning, this is not the end, this is the beginning of the end. So we are not, due to the culture, you are not making any more negative karma. And because you have accepted a lifestyle, that doesn't mean that your whole karma has ended. But this is the beginning of the end. And like simple Bhagavad Gita verse, Krishna says that one who doesn't give up my service under any situation. What does any situation mean? It means any situation, anything can happen. So when things are going very nicely, let us say you don't have any bad karmic reaction coming your way, but Krishna wants to bring you back faster. So cannot he make something? He cannot tell his Maya that, okay, put him in some kind of misery. Let me see how he does things. So those kind of calamities, they are manufactured by Krishna just so that we can come to him fast. Now, especially in Kali Yuga, Krishna doesn't need to manufacture anything. We already have so much of variety. Krishna can choose anyone, but generally that's the thing. So I'm reminded of a Chinese story. This Chinese gymnast, her target was say 9.9 out of 10. She got 9.4 and still she got the gold medal. But after the ceremony was over, her coach came and shouted at her like anything. Somehow the news leaked and somebody asked her, how can he treat you like that? She said, well, I felt bad because he shouted at me for such a long time. But do you know something? He prepared me for a 9.9 score. I failed in my practice sessions. Therefore, I had to settle for 9.4. I still got the gold medal and the world was applauding. But he was not applauding because he said, you can do much better than that. So similarly, we can be having a magnificent temple, we can be doing grand cooking, we can be doing book distribution, writing books or whatever. And Prabhupada and all the Guru Parampara will applaud. It's natural. It's not like they won't applaud. But Krishna as the super soul in the heart will also give us an understanding. You could do better than that, don't you? I've given you so much. So this half happy feeling and the other half in the privacy of our heart, a frustration feeling, they go hand in hand. Devotees don't feel morose if Krishna decides to correct us. We say, if he won't decide to correct us, then who will? Others don't even know what kind of muck I have in my heart. Like there is a famous Mayapur story. A lady came in front of Narasimha Dev, and this is 1996. And she said, my Lord, I love you very much. He said, I too. I love all my devotees who come to Mayapur to take my darshan. And she was begging for some mercy or something. Suddenly, Lord Narasimha Dev jumped upon her. You know, he has so many weapons. Mayapur Narasimha Dev, he has all his weapons. He just took a, I don't know remember which particular weapon he took. He opened her heart. She was getting this vision that Narasimha Dev is opening my heart. And he dipped that weapon into her heart and brought out in the open. And there was some black, foul-smelling liquid. And Narasimha Dev said, you know what is this? She was dumbstruck. She could not speak. So this is all lust. How do you expect me to love you with all of that? So she was so mortified that, my God, Now we know from the Shastra that our heart is filled with lusty desires. But when the Lord decides to show in a graphic way, that is terrible. So he said, I love all of you. Love is never denied, but reciprocation is conditional. Love is a 24/7 flowing activity. So reciprocation means, my Lord, did you like this khichdi? My Lord, did you like this dahi? My Lord, did you like my garland? He's not duty bound to tell you, give a WhatsApp message that, yeah, yesterday's garland was fabulous. Mostly devotees, how do you know that Krishna is reciprocating? If right now you are taking rest in about half an hour time, and if you say, my Lord, I would like to chant better tomorrow, I would like to be a better devotee tomorrow, I don't have proper relations with this particular Vaishnava or Vaishnavi, I would like to improve that. Any small desire to improve your sadhana bhakti is a sign that Krishna loves and Krishna is reciprocating.
So is it like in Prabhupada's life, we read in Lilamrit that Prabhupada was like planning to be successful in his business and he wants to establish himself financially a little bit and then take up the spiritual sadhana, that was his plan, right? What we understand from the book. So, but nothing materialized because Krishna was not letting things happen. So is that because Prabhupada's heart is so pure, filled for, completely for Krishna. So do we have to understand here that is the love of Krishna on Srila Prabhupada, or is it he's reciprocating the love in Prabhupada's heart? Like, how should we understand that, Prabhuji?
Prabhupada beautifully answered this. He said, when I took sannyas, I started preaching, or even before sannyas, Prabhupada had begun his small preaching project in Jhansi, Madhya Pradesh, even before it sannyas. So he said, Krishna tested me from 1952 to 1965. How? By taking away everything from me. And devotees were like mesmerized. Wow, yeah, that's how you understand. Krishna tested you. And then Prabhupada added, and Krishna tested me from 1965 to 1977 by giving me everything. And I remained the same. I remained the same. This is the most important part. When Krishna took away everything, Prabhupada said, my father used to tell me, if Krishna wants to take away, he has thousands of arms. How can you hold back with your 2 arms? And the next moment, Krishna decides to give you something, it is 1,000 arms. How much can you take with your 2 arms?
So other things the same, Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrit, like understanding that bitterness between Srila Prabhupada and his wife, she's selling the books for, he said. So I kind of feel like it's Krishna's plan so that Prabhupada is not even attached in that way.
There is a theory like that why Krishna's one son became half crazy, one son became very greedy, and his wife was so uncooperative. So one devotee is telling, please don't have any doubts. These individuals all went back to Godhead because they had a role to play. But they were not eternal souls from Krishna Lila who were sent to perform that particular role. Or they could be also, we don't know. But they had a role to play, and that role was a negative side of oriented. So uncooperative wife, children not interested in the mission. Because in Kali Yuga, if Prabhupada had 3 sons and all of them pure devotees or whatever, there would be a big competition for who is going to control, who's going to do this, who's going to do what. And that has happened before.
Yeah.
Many times we see, and we have to just accept things based on how they turn out to be. Bhaktivinoda Thakur had so many children. Only 2 of them took up the process of preaching. And one of them, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur's own brother, he was not at all very favorable, not at all cooperative also. He had just 1 temple. But Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur's work is 64 temples, 2 big printing presses. And by his mercy, Srila Prabhupada's work is, my God, 108 temples. All over the world is preaching. So they all went back to Godhead. That's the most important part. Even though they were
We'll also go. We'll also go.
That is one thing. We should have the confidence that one day I will go for sure. Based on what? Based on the mercy of my acharyas. Based on my sadhana bhakti, I don't think I can even move 1 inch towards Godhead. So with my power, I'm completely hopeless. With my Guru's power, I'm completely hopeful. All right.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, everybody. Vancha kalpataru vishcha kripa siddha